Thank you for staying with us. Joining the program is Scott Vincini with Callen Insurance Services. Welcome to the show, Scott.
Thanks for having me, Betsy.
So first off, since this is your first time here, tell us a little bit about Callen Insurance Services.
Sure. We are an independent property casualty agency, and we're located just outside the Sea Pine Circle on William Hilton Parkway. And one thing that we distinguish ourselves with is being full service. We handle life and health insurance, we handle long-term care planning, and so on. So we want to be a one-stop shop for our customers.
Excellent. Well, so since we're real estate, we're going to focus a little bit on home insurance today. So tell us how the recent storm activity has impacted the home insurance market.
Well, that's definitely the question we're getting all the time, is how have the storms impacted the market? And it's really a twofold. First of all, there's the underwriting aspect and what the carriers are doing, and then there's also the marketplace itself. So first, the carriers. A lot of people want to know, are prices going up? Are people leaving the market?
Right.
And some of us remember 10 years ago, we had a really hard market here with fewer choices, higher prices, and a lot of people in the wind and hail pool. It's actually not that way at all right now. In fact, just this morning, one of our major carriers announced a 7% decrease. And we got a lot of calls right after Matthew in particular, reminding us that everybody still wanted the business. The one area that we are seeing a little bit of tightening is underwriting. Underwriting is a way to be a little pickier, and we are seeing that some carriers are really looking at the trees on the property, and we've been suggesting that people consider an arborist as part of their inspection or as part of their regular home maintenance to make sure that the trees are healthy.
Excellent. That's an excellent suggestion. And so you touched on it a little bit, but the coastal market obviously is a little bit more complex. So what are the main things you want your consumer to know?
Well, I think the biggest area where sometimes people are comparing apples and oranges is in the deductibles. The deductibles are really different from most policies that people are used to if they're not in the coastal market. We have multiple policies, and we also have multiple deductibles within the policies. For example, your homeowner's policy is going to have two deductibles typically. An AOP, which is your all other perils deductible, and that's going to cover everything but wind and hail. Then your wind and hail is typically a percentage of the dwelling amount, and that tends to be a higher deductible.
Okay.
The area where it's apples and oranges sometimes is that wind and hail is one level of deductible that only covers any windstorm. And then named storm and hurricane will only come into play if you have a named storm as or a hurricane. So sometimes people are comparing wind and hail to a hurricane deductible, and they're actually very different.
Okay, well, that's really good information to know. So in our last 30 seconds or so, tell us a little bit about the flood insurance market.
Well, the flood insurance also has the two deductibles. There's actually a deductible for the dwelling and for the personal property, so some people don't realize that they may have two deductibles in a loss. The other area that is of interest is that there is an excess flood market for people who have values over 250. We run into that a lot, so in addition to the flood program that's run by FEMA, we also have a private market that can give you higher coverage when you need it.
Okay. Well, I can tell that you absolutely know your stuff and are a wealth of knowledge, so thank you for being with us, and make sure you find Scott at Callen Insurance Services right outside the Sea Pine Circle. Thanks for being with us, Scott.
Thanks for having me.